Woo-hoo, I'm being recorded.
Yeah, Billy, that's you we're watching.
You watching me?
Of course.
Look.
Good evening, everyone.
Laser engraving. I'm laser engraving. Logos.
Hello, Donald from Australia.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. Freezing to death, but apart from that, I'm doing well.
You're freezing to death and it's 84 degrees where I'm at. So, hey.
It's 3 degrees Celsius here.
Fahrenheit.
I'm glad you asked.
Cold.
Yeah, that's 32 divided by 8 and divide by 5 and multiply by 8.
In other words, it's cold. It's cold.
That time of year down there.
It's under 40 degrees anyway.
That's cold.
Old enough.
I see Eddie still has Doug's headphones on.
Yeah, well, I can't find Doug's blonde wig to go with it. So
That's a problem.
Hearing that gentleman from Germany was a ball turning. I
Wasn't that
just wish I understood German so I could know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I wish he'd wear a shield.
Yeah, he didn't even have safety glasses, much less face shield.
Exactly.
There was no protection whatsoever. And that
But
lathe was not going slowly. That thing was flying.
some
But he's
people believe
still-
you can get. Some people believe luck is better than prevention. I
Yeah.
don't.
Well, I kind of think that video was done a number of years ago. And, it wasn't that long ago when we started wearing little protection, but he had nothing. And the host that was there had nothing. It was standing right on his shoulder. So I have to believe it was done, a few years back.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
it was
know.
then.
I don't know. I watched another video from that same channel. Guy turned a circle or a ball coming out of a block, out of the corner of a block. Beautiful turning. No safety
Yeah.
glass, no nothing.
Right.
Big old German guy. I think it's just a German thing.
Might be.
They had a little young girl doing a demo in the UK, and I was watching it, and it was kind of getting a little scary. And then she grabbed a piece of wire that she was going to do some wire burning, and she had no handles, and the wire was 4 feet long.
Golly.
And she grabbed it, and that's when I left the meeting. I said, "Man, I can't watch it anymore."
That's a good way to
Could
trim your fingers down.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I just could not believe it. The wire was so long, there was no way. It was just so many things that could happen.
Mhm.
And somebody the other day told me I couldn't correct somebody's kid for running by the street. And I said, maybe I shouldn't correct somebody for doing something like that. But if it happens, I still get the memory.
That's right.
And,
right.
and that's the unfair part. That's the very unfair part is, what did I do to deserve this? Or what, how can I avoid it? And so I get fussed at, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe I shouldn't do that. Hell, if I didn't make mistakes, I wouldn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't want people to get hurt with it if you can help it.
I like to treat everybody's kids like they're my own. I
Sure.
can live with myself.
My grandson comes down to watch me turn. He's wearing a space shield, or he's standing across the room, out of the line of the lathe.
Right.
But
Yeah,
if you
take
go
care.
over there and watch close, then he's wearing his UVX Bionics.
Yeah. When my kids were coming up, and they're old adults now, but when they were coming up, the one thing I was very, very adamant about, you will not go outside when there's fireworks being shot off. I'm an old ammo troop. I saw accidents where people just didn't, and I'm thinking, if I put my kid out there, I've thrown them in the way of harm. So my wife said, you know, you can't correct those kids, can't correct those kids. Maybe it's not proper, but you know, I have a problem time remembering anybody's name or any event except those kinds of events.
A couple of years ago, I was working at Home Depot in the hardware department. There were two young teenage kids, a boy and a girl, and they were near the axes and big hammers. And they started playing, swinging them at each other like they were in the Crusades. And I put an end to it and went and spoke to the parents. The parents chewed my ass out for having spoken to them.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, don't correct my kids. I'm doing a good job of my own. No, you're
You
not.
know, and you go back to when I was a kid, if an adult caught you doing something, they'd tear
Ooh, I
your
was in
behind
trouble.
up. And if your parents found out about it, they tore your behind up again.
Yep.
Thank the other parents for doing it.
Yeah, my dad ran the block we lived on in New Orleans. He was called the ambassador of Bridget Place. He sat on the front steps every evening, and there must have been 50 kids on that block playing. And if my dad whistled at you and pointed at you, you either wanted to go home or go hide, because something was really going to go down. And I saw him come out and grab kids and whack them on the butt. You do that today, you could be talking to the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So, all right, who's turning what this week? Let's go. It's 23 after the hour or whatever. Who's turning? Come on.
Hey, I got a quick question on using carnauba wax. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I mean, I'm taking it and buffing it, but when I'm getting it off my wheel, it still seems like the wax is on it. Am I not getting it hot enough? Or do I have too much wax on the wheel? Or I'm not really that familiar with carnauba wax.
Takes very little.
So maybe I have too much. I mean, I'm actually, it's sitting on the table 15, 20 minutes later, and I'm going back and buffing it with a towel really hard, and I get it off and it shines up. But it's like it has a sheen on it when I take it off the wheel.
Let me give you an old wives' tale on how to dress it up. I learned this, no kidding, 60 years ago. You take a saw blade, like a Sawzall blade that's fairly coarse, and you hold it up flat across your wheel, and you dress that wheel off. What you do is break up all that stacked up material you've got on the face, because it's not letting the fibers can't open up. They're locked together.
Gotcha.
So, and so if you can let them open up a little bit, that might freshen up the wheel. And caution, go light, go lightly. More power is not better.
Yeah, I tried putting a piece of wood, to clean off what's on the wheel, and it's like, I don't know. I know I got to get it hot. It should feel warm when I take it off, and maybe that's what I'm not doing, or maybe being too gentle with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think you ought to be heating it up at all.
Okay, so
you might be buffing it too hard.
Okay, it could be. I need to figure that out.
You're using a stick carnauba wax?
Correct.
And how much wax are you putting on the wheel?
I don't know. I'm loading it, but not not excessively. Maybe two seconds or whatever. If
Okay,
that.
well, at this point you probably got the wheel overloaded, like what Eddie said.
It's not stringing though. It's not stringing when I'm buffing it. I mean, I've seen that process happen before. It loads up and it makes it real stringy on what you're buffing. I'm not getting that.
Okay, but don't buff it hard. Just buff it light.
Maybe that's where I'm messing up. It's got probably, like you said, I probably got too much wax on the wheel. It's probably the problem.
Too much wax, and you don't need the heat.
Okay.
If you'll buff it lightly for a longer period of time and then give it some time to cool and set, that might be exactly what you need.
I was doing that on the table, and then when I hit it with my towel to buff it off, then I would work at it real hard, but it would come off. So it was definitely a film of wax left on it. I mean, this is the bowl that I was doing. I mean, it really turned out nice, okay, but it was like it was just I don't know. It was a job. It shouldn't have been that difficult. Shouldn't have been that much hand work in it,
Yeah.
Nice finish on that, though.
Yeah, that's some of that.
doing all.
General Finishes wood bowl finish. I don't know if you've ever used that. I thought it was something special, and after I got it and bought it, I realized it's basically a wipe on poly. Yeah, there's nothing special about it.
Hey,
But it
it's
works,
not,
you know.
wood turners can change the name of anything because there's no rule book, you know.
And raise the price.
Yeah. Well, originally they said it was solid bowl finish, and that's what I thought I was getting. You know, they changed the name to wood finish, bowl finish, and it's like when I got it, it wasn't what I thought it was. But hey, it works.
Yeah, I like it. I use it.
Yeah. I put 4 coats on it, and it turned out really well. I buffed it up, hit some white diamonds, and then hit it with the carnauba wax, and it turned really well. I got 3 or 4 little bowls out of it. These are all one-way cord bowls that would have been on the floor, so these are all freebies.
Pretty wood.
Oh yeah, it's got a good grain to it. One of them, I'm laser engraving right now. It's got some kind of weird marbling effect to the wood that I haven't seen in any of the other elm that I've turned so far. So yeah, it's pretty. It kind of stinks though. It smells like the pasture when you're turning it.
Can you show it again, Billy? I missed it.
Which this one?
What is that made out of?
It's elm. This is actually a piece of fat wood. I ended up with 2 big pieces of elm wood, and I'm having a hard time figuring out which way to turn it. But
well, you did a good job on that one.
Yeah, like I said, it's four coats of it. It's a 4 days worth of finishing.
Right.
I mean, it only takes a couple of minutes each day, but I mean, it's still 4 days, you know. I mean, it probably would have looked just as nice if I'd have used some Parfex. Okay.
That's got quite the shine on it.
Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah, so you
turned out really well.
You ought to try putting a coat on it and then putting it in an automobile. Let it cook in there.
Ooh, that's I think the biggest problem I had with it, the first coat, it said to flood it, and I flooded it, but I don't think I flooded it enough. I probably could have done 3 coats if I'd have did the first coat correctly, but
yeah,
I didn't finish it on the lathe. I did it on the table. So
right, when I used to use it, that's what I would do. I would flood it and then let it sit for 15-20 minutes, and then come back and wipe the excess off.
Yeah,
and you have a real good base coat with that general finishes, and then from there, you know, 1 or 2 more coats, you know, 3, you know, 4 tops. You know, you're going to have that mirror image.
I mean, this one's pretty thin. I mean, I think it's down maybe 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so it was when I was putting the finish on, it was actually penetrating to the other side.
Right. Yeah, I believe it.
But I still put 4 coats on it, and it didn't quite buff up as nice as the other one, but I think a lot of it is I probably didn't get the carnauba wax on it. I'm gonna probably wax it again.
Yeah, that's probably the issue there is the wax.
But,
Billy, it's not thin until you can read the paper through it. Yeah.
Well, see, this is pretty close. And like I said, when I hit it with a denatured alcohol, my hand got wet on the other side, and I went, "Ooh!" Yeah, that was a good one. Oh yeah, it's been.
Okay, Bob, we have a couple of co-hosts lined in right tonight, but let me pop in here and see if Don from Ontario says he's got a couple of wig stands to show us tonight. Don, are you there? Don, you got to talk to me, bud.
You got to talk to me? There I am.
All right, now we got you, Don.
All right, here's one of the wig stands.
I like that wood.
It's sumac, and the bottom is sprayed with black flock, so that they just gives it a nice even finish.
Nice. Nice detail on the shaft.
And here's the second one. This one was done for a child's room. And it's got drawers, and they're lined with green flock.
Oh, that's neat.
That is.
Like that. That's different.
It's got a small crown for a young child. So just something a little different.
It's really nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Seeing some great work coming about from this wig challenge. We get a lot of, remember folks, we just want to know what wig stands you turn. And somebody kind of chimed in this week about what's to do with numbers. It's got nothing to do with numbers. Never will have anything to do with numbers. It's really all right here. If you feel good, turn a wig stand. And I'm working on it. Okay, Ronnie, guess what I found out in my backyard today, Ronnie? All right, Ronnie's got to talk.
I had to unmute myself. Go ahead.
I found 2 2x6s 10 foot long.
That's a free ride, yeah.
I know. I'm going to hook the tractor up on them tomorrow and pull them up front. Apparently, it floated under the fence in one of those floods.
Oh, wow.
There might be a little spalting on them too. Hey, Dane. Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm all right. And Kay's with us from Ontario. We have Bill Miller's with us tonight. Trying to pop her head. Dean Grimes is with us. Bill Moffitt. Wow, a lot of regulars in here tonight.
Right. Hey Eddie, I think we got another wig stand here with Terrell Brace.
Oh wait, all right. Let's go sit and take a look at it, Terrell.
Terrell, how are you, sir?
Terrell, it's your turn. You got to talk. Press your mute
All right.
button.
There you are.
It's one out of
Pull it back towards you. Back towards you looks better for us. There you go.
Nice. What'd you make it out of, Terrell?
2x6.
2x6.
See, I got some in my yard, Terrell.
That's expensive.
Well, I had it for about 15 years.
Oh, good investment.
Right?
Grain on that one too.
Talk about the time value of money there.
That's a vintage 2x6. That makes it more valuable.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice job.
Nice. I like the
That looks
like the
good.
detail on the base. That's nice.
It's very nice.
Are you in the 2x4 club yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie, do we
Was it
have
green? Was it green wood when you turned it?
something? Eddie, do we have something for Terrell?
Yeah, I'm going to get over there right now. I have to.
Right on.
He's in a wig. He's in a
Well,
wig
in the
stand.
Well, in the meantime, I'm going to flash over to Doug Miller and see how he's doing, and then we'll come back to you.
It's okay.
Yeah, here we are. Oh,
Doug.
see everybody tonight. Some of you guys have seen this. I've put it on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but did a little bit of a little short vase. This is some cottonwood. I had forgotten that cottonwood is as hard as it is. That stuff is hard as a booger, but dyed it green. Inside's natural color. But I laid a coat of black on there, sanded it off, and then I don't know, there were 3 or 4 coats of forest green, sanded back each coat, and then the last coat was pear green, which is more of a yellow, gave it some brighter life in there. Then that's got about 12 coats of rattle can lacquer on it that was buffed and polished after it dried. So just a nice little vase, and the fun part is it's already sold.
What I like is I can read the clock across the room. And
Yeah, but-
Right. You can see yourself in it.
Yeah, and show your neighbors what they're doing over there.
that is one beautiful piece. Cottonwood.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. That piece has got some nice figure in it.
Very
Well,
nice.
yeah, I thought it was going to be real plain, and I got into it, and there's that big chunk of grain right there. That's the best
Right.
grain of the whole thing. But most of it
Yeah,
is
makes it.
fairly. There you get some of the pear showing through, as well as some chatoyance in there. It came out pretty nice.
It's
And like I
green
said-
too, Doug.
I'm sorry.
I said it's green too.
Yes, it is green. A lot of my still pictures came out brown for some reason. Took it outside to get some natural light on it to take pictures, and the green disappeared. It became brown. So yeah, it's green.
That's why I was telling him, because he said the seed in that his green vase turned brown on him.
Yeah.
So,
And not pictures, it did.
Yeah. Sometimes especially sunlight's a little bit too hot. You need to get down to about 3,200 light, in temperature. There we go, Terrell, you're up.
How you doing, Terrell?
Yeah,
That's
thank
what you
you.
got
Thank
now.
you.
All right, thank you. Terrell showed us that nice, oh doggone it, wig stand he did for us a minute ago. I cannot get my regular computer to come back online.
Well, while you're working on that, let's go to Huck and see what he's got.
Huck, what's up,
Hey,
bud?
Joe. Talk to us, buddy.
Hi. I was trying to hurry up and get a wig stand made before the end of the month for the challenge. And I got in a big hurry. So I call it my misfit wig stand. It's the first time I've ever turned anything that was like a spindle or anything. Well, I'll show it to you so you can all say, what in the world did that guy do anyway? I'm kind of ashamed of it, but somebody will be happy with it. I don't have a finish on it yet, but here it is.
There it is.
It looks good.
Well, it looks nice.
Nothing
Very
wrong with
nice.
that.
Looks
It's
good.
made out of old used what the heck, oak pellet boards. This part here was a 3x3 pellet board. These were 2x6s.
Nice.
It's
Good.
the only thing I could throw together to maybe make it, but now that I'm hooked, I'll be making more.
Okay,
Right
now, Huck, there is no time limit on this.
I know. I
It's not-
thought I wanted
okay.
to get it. I wanted to get it done for the May challenge, Joe, and the May's about over with. But I'll make another one.
We got plenty of room, for him.
All right.
right,
Thanks,
Eddie,
guys, for even
You
looking
got
at it.
something?
Great start.
All right.
Caddy, we got Miss Kim Tippin back.
Oh, yeah, Kim, I need to get some work done in the bathroom over here. There's towel work in a tub and everything else. So you
No, thank you. I fired myself.
fired yourself?
I'm done. I'm done with that. Matter of fact, I actually sold all of my tile equipment, my $500 tile saw. I'm done. That bathroom, my first bathroom made me realize I was getting old. My second bathroom made me realize that my body is definitely older than what my brain thinks it is. And I'm done. I retired doing tile officially.
Kim, we can't see you.
I'm having technical difficulties. I had to order a new microphone and everything, and I'm gonna have to order a new camera too. So I apologize.
There's some beautiful lady on the screen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the old glamour shot me.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks,
the
Kim.
7-year-old me.
Well, the bathroom looked good.
Yeah, it sure does. I wouldn't complain about her working in my towel work.
I
That's for
appreciate
sure.
that.
Wallpaper.
I'm sorry, what?
Can I use that as my wallpaper?
Oh, my bathroom photo or my photo?
7-year-old.
Too funny.
If you want
All
to
right,
show
let's go
something
to
on
Rusty
gallery,
Tate. Let's go to Rusty. How you doing, Rusty?
there he is.
Hey, I'm doing good. I bought a little bit of burl wood the other day, and first of the month, and in there was a piece that the guy had colored and soaked in some cactus juice and everything, and I decided to try to make a finial out of it. So now I've got a finial in search of a project to put it on, but I still got it in check. It's not quite finished yet.
Looks
But,
good. I like the coloring.
Yeah, color came out beautiful.
Pull
I
it
still
closer to
gotta
you. Pull it.
I
There
still
you
got to
go.
put a little. Harry, shut up. I got to put a little more lacquer on it, but yeah, green and blue and red and yellow in there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Nice.
It was about this long, but you know how burl is with the little voids and stuff, and I'd get it a little thin and it'd break off, and oh man, I was starting to think I wasn't going to get anything out of it.
Hey, have you tried soaking it with CA once you get rough close to the area, because burl is so open?
Well,
yeah.
I was out of the shop for a couple of years, and all my CA went hard on me. So
That's what happened to my arteries. Wow.
Yeah,
well,
they'll sell you some more.
By the way, Eddie, that was done totally with your tools.
Oh, wow. I'm glad it helped you.
No conventional tools. I have some conventional tools, but I got no way to sharpen them yet. So everything
Okay.
I use right now is carbide.
Well, well, that's good. We're going to work on sharpening carbon steel tools or high-speed steel tools, because that's a workshop we'd like to have continue. I want to find us a co-host that will do a little 5 or 10 minute a week or per meeting, and just give a little, show us the jig they use or how they do it or how they hold it and things like that, because it's like elbows. Everybody's got more than one, and a way to do things, and we're going to get to it for that. So thank you, Rusty. Appreciate showing us that tonight.
All right. All right, Jason, you're up.
Uh-oh.
Is your mic working?
No, but he's not talking. Can't believe it happened again.
Your
Jason, we don't hear.
Well, it looks good.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, can you spell it out like the YMCA song? Oh, come on. Step back and do it.
I asked somebody one
buddy.
time if they knew sign language, and when they signed me, I didn't like. All right. Thank you, Jason. Check on his audio there.
All right.
Will you get back in? All right.
All right. Let's go to Texas real quick here, Eddie.
There's Bob. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how are you doing, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Live and loud from Tarrant County.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've been working on a kaleidoscope, but I'm kind of out of ideas to make the barrel out of, or to make it look good. Little end pieces here. Whoops, where's the camera at?
Yeah.
But has anybody done any kaleidoscopes and have any different shapes?
I know some turners that have done them. I don't see them on the lineup right now.
Okay. Anyway, that was it. I just I hadn't got this one together yet, but it's about ready to go together. But main thing, I was looking for ideas for the shape and the look of it. I don't make it. And this one here was just too hard to do. I don't like doing this. I forgot what they call that. But
Celtic knot.
There you go, Celtic knot. But that was
really good.
Yeah, it came out all right, but it does have a bad spot here. It's easy to get them off, I don't know if you can see that one or not.
Oh yes, the blade cut and the thickness, they have to match.
Yeah. And when you're spreading it out longer, of course, that automatically makes that little cuts off. And anyway, maybe a thinner piece would have been easier than the thicker ones.
Just tell people that's the way it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Only
Hopefully they
turners
won't
know what
see it. It's only that one on one side, so maybe they won't see it.
Just tell them anybody can do it the other way, but only special people can do it like that.
Yeah, right.
Only show
Thanks,
them one
Bob.
side at a time.
Oh, there you go.
All right, let's go see Terry.
Do I have audio?
Hey,
Terry, you're on.
Okay, I'm on. I got some stuff in from Mark and
Well, pull it back.
Soleil, and this is
Pull it back towards you. There you go.
this is my first piece with the 34 whatever varnish. I didn't do it quite right. I didn't use a sealer, and I never did one before. It's a little dimply. The wood. It's a piece of that wood that I found that I made last week. I showed you a piece of. I was just practicing to see how it come out. I need to do some more practicing. But last night, I don't know if any of you people watched Record Power free demo last night. We've talked about it a few times on the thing, and he was doing pens, which I haven't done any pens yet, but I'm looking forward to going in that direction. I just haven't got there. But he did one with a Celtic knot that he was showing, and he showed how he did it. So this morning I went out and thought I'd take a shot at it. And my first attempt worked out pretty good. It's not on a pen blank, it's just on a piece of mesquite. It's about 1 inch in diameter, maybe a little bit more. And I think you can see it pretty good. It came out pretty good.
Yeah, it sure
Nice
did.
job.
And it's just, like I say, it's just old wood. And I thought, well, let me go back out and try again and see if I can make one in pen size. Get like a 3/4 inch blank and start it. Well, the smaller you get, the more difficult things get.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed is I was doing it kind of fast. I was just playing, I was experimenting, trying to do it. And I was using CA glue. And that worked pretty good on this size one. But when I tried to get smaller, everything just blew up on me. But as you can see, when you go to cut it, that you've got little tiny pieces. And if you're not really careful, they come apart. I think I need to go back and probably try it with a fast bond or steady bond or whatever, with a good glue, and take my time and do it. I was just pushing through it and they came apart. One thing I did find that he talked about last night was to use when you cut it apart, the spaces that you use, the little pieces that you put in the middle, make them the same width as the saw blade.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Check your saw blade and make your spacers the same width as your saw blade. And then when you put it back together, you're not changing the length at all. And then they all match up. If you look at these, I couldn't understand why that was important in my mind. It didn't work. And when I tried it in real life, it didn't work. You're not hitting them in the same place. You're changing the length on it in the first time. So when you go to cut the second one, it all comes back apart. But it was pretty interesting. And all that record power stuff is actually YouTube online and stuff, and you can find it and you can watch that demonstration if you want to see it. It was pretty interesting. And I thought it come out pretty nice. I think I might have a better shot at it. But I see with the smaller you get, you got to really be careful about your glue joints. Make sure they're real position, because you're going to have little tiny pieces in there. And then if you drill it out with a hole in the middle, you're really going to have little pieces.
The secret to that is to not cut it all the way through the blank.
That wasn't shown on a demonstration yesterday. They were cutting it clean through. If you follow that, Terry, as you set your saw to where it doesn't come all the way to the top of the cut, doesn't go through. You're doing a plow, not a clean cut.
What he was doing was cutting it apart.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
Gluing it back together.
Okay,
And
if
putting
you
4 little dividers in pieces like this in between them and gluing it back together.
I follow it, but the way where you don't have to worry about lining them back up again and getting in it, it's a little bit easier to assemble. And we're gonna have to have somebody do a demo on that one night and show you, because it really takes a lot of mystery out of it. And if it gets too small like that, and I don't critique your work, that's a 45-degree angle you've cut there. But suppose that went down to a 30-degree angle and it was longer. It would give you a totally different look, but all your cuts will have to be at that same angle, which is where a sled comes in.
We tried to pin him down on the angle last night, and he really didn't know. He said, start out with 45 and figure out what you're doing. But with this, I run this at 40. With ones that came apart, I tried to take them down to 30. And then I just wound up with a little pieces. Plus, I wasn't making the spacer blanks the same width as the saw. He was telling us that he used them for either his table saw or his bandsaw and measured them the same to keep the length the same. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do it. That's just the one that I saw last night.
Yeah, I have a belt sander, a cabinet belt sander that that's where it comes in awesome, because I can bring it down a quarter of a pass and, or a quarter of a turn and get it lined up. But it looks good, Terry. Looks really good.
That's good.
Terry, before you go, try to add popsicle sticks or something like that, glue them lengthwise on the blank, and it will strengthen the blank so that when you drill it, the blank doesn't come apart.
And the sticks disappear for some reason later on when you turn it, they go away.
Yeah.
Very good. I'll try that.
All right, thank you, Terry. Hey, I gotta pop in here before we do anybody else, Dane, because one of our members got a hold of me this week, and he hasn't answered the text I sent him a minute ago. So you tell him to bail out if you want to bail out. But he sent me he was trying to do something Doug Miller did. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Doug Miller did this water spotted platter.
I wonder who that was.
It was Doug. Doug Miller did that.
Yeah, but who tried it?
Oh, wait, I think it was you that tried it.
John.
I did have a strange phone call about that the other day or this morning.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did.
Were they asking about your car warranty?
Yeah, that's
I'm glad they're not just calling me.
Go ahead,
Right.
show the pictures.
All right, I got to get you up on the spot
Load it up.
for that to happen. All right, now I'm going to go back. I have a little brief presentation so Johnny can talk over it. I got to do a co-spotting, and I think that'll do it. Johnny, now you got it?
Yeah, can you zoom in on it, or can you show the one that is bad on it?
Oh, I got a couple of them, Ronnie. I thought you just tell.
You do.
What? Yeah, you took them. That's.
I started off with a piece of white oak, and I learned real quick this is not the project for white oak. So I was fighting the open grain on the white oak, and believe it or not, from this point, from bare wood to this point, I went back and forth. It's now a total of 4 times, and I've been on this project for 2 weeks. And Eddie, this one's not really showing it. Can you show the one with the when I finally got it to where I thought it was going to work out, the first coat of lacquer that I put on it, I think I could have put paint stripper on it, and it would have looked better than what it did. In about 3 spots, there you go. It raised the paint like this.
Huh? Was it wet?
No, it was dry, bone dry.
Huh?
Did your lacquer acetone in it in the content of the spray you put on it?
It was that rattle can lacquer.
But read the label. If it's got acetone on it and you spray acetone finish that you've got on there, that's a thing you're going to get. If there's any acetone at all in your finish, that'll happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to go check my can of lacquer, Ronnie.
Okay.
Huh.
So at
It
this
looks like you
point,
textured it to me.
at this point, I was so disgusted because what you're looking at, this is the 4th time. So I said,
It looks exactly like it looks exactly like it has acetone in the finish in the spray can.
I use Rust-Oleum lacquer is what I use.
There's a lot of people that pay a lot for the crinkle effect on auto instrument panels or anything else like that.
So what I did at this point, I said, I'm not going back down again. So all this whole week, I've been spraying lacquer on it and building it up and knocking it back. So tomorrow I'm gonna go back outside and see what I can do. And I don't know if I'm gonna save it or if I'm gonna throw it in the trash can. But that's where I'm at right now.
Ronnie, that's a one-of-a-kind art piece, man. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, you got texture on it.
Yeah, it's got plenty of texture.
Yeah,
Don't
Ronnie,
like that, if you don't like that texture, try it with spray poly.
There you go.
I was
Or
gonna,
you could use camo duct tape on it.
I was gonna ask, I had trouble getting my microphone to work, but what kind of paint did you use on the first coat?
Well, the fourth time around, after it was bare wood, last week everybody said, well, put a sanding sealer on it. So I put a lacquer sanding sealer on it, and I knocked off the nibs and everything else, got it all right. And then I had 3 cans of rattle paint, and one of them was a darker blue. That was my base. I put that down. I completely let it dry, and then I took the spray bottle of water and I misted it with water. Got the water droplets right, and then I sprayed it with the white paint, and then I sprayed it with a lighter color blue.
Okay,
And
because
then-
what I was seeing on the picture is it looked like some of that pooling on the inside started at the drops. If you got that first coat too thin, some of that water could have permeated down underneath the woods, because I was looking at some of the separation on that piece. If you click the camera on Eddie, if you look at some of the inside, it actually only starts where the water droplets are. I've 30 years painting, so I've seen failures on paint before. So if it was like a acrylic spray paint, it does allow water. So I mean, putting 2 coats on might stiffen it so it doesn't penetrate through 1 coat of paint.
Well, at this point, it's got 2 cans of spray lacquer on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building it up, knocking it back, building it up, knocking it back.
Okay.
and we're talking cans, not coats, right, Ronnie?
Not coats. This is cans.
Wow. I went down and checked my lacquer. I've got the Rust-Oleum lacquer. That's what I've used on all of mine. And the thought of lacquer in a can without acetone didn't jive with me. So I checked, and mine does have acetone in it. Now my spray paint, the only thing I could think of, Ronnie, to check would be your spray paint. Make sure it's enamel and not acrylic.
No, it's enamel.
Okay, you should. That's what I'm using. So,
well, and even oftentimes they use acetone as a propellant. So even in just about any spray can, it'll have a little acetone in it, or heptane or something of that sort.
And the crazy part about it, now I did this a total of three times. The other 2 times, it didn't do the surface that, because I was already past it, and I was coming up with the lacquer, and it was fine, but I didn't like the open grain of the wood. So I kept going back down. The last time is when I hit it with the lacquer, and then it did that.
Well, I think it's a unique piece. I really do.
I do too.
It's unique, all right.
I'd seal it up with some tung oil or wipe on poly and be done with it. Call it a day.
Yeah, well, tomorrow is going to be the last day, one way or the other.
Tell everybody it's art.
I'm going to go hang out by his garbage can just in case.
The preparation H bowl painted it black.
Oh boy. All right, let's go to Bob Moffett here.
Okay.
Hey, Bob.
I got a platter that I did. I'm having a little trouble with the bearings on my lathe.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, look, it's running out a little bit.
Did it on 2 centers, and the backs had 1 center here and then 1 offset, and turned all the beads in it. Then I turned put it offset, and then turned the inside of it.
It's a beautiful piece.
Oh, very nice.
What kind of wood?
With Minwax antique oil.
Right. What's the wood?
It's walnut.
Walnut.
Was that a bird bath?
Huh.
Very nice.
There's a bird right, the bird
All right.
flying right there. That's his contrail from the bird.
Okay, for new members that don't know, Bob is our birdhouse expert. That
was a jet bird.
A jet bird. Okay. Hi, folks. It's 2 minutes after 7 o'clock Central Time. Our demonstration this evening is going to be a continuance of the demonstration we had presented last week. We did this little, or no, Dane did the little box, and he showed us how to turn the vessel itself. Part of the program tonight is, Dane, I believe we're going to turn
We're going to turn the lid.
All
for
right.
the vessel.
Good. Are we ready? You set up, or you will need a minute or two?
Yeah, give me 10 minutes and I'll get the camera on my phone switched around and be all
right.
set up. So
Go take
Paul, if you can take over for me. I've got Brenda, Gary Bobenhausen, and David J from Michigan up for gallery.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Eddie.
Is that Jason back?
Yeah, I was just seeing if I had audio back.
You sure do. Do you have that piece that you were showing?
Yeah, I do.
Why don't we take a quick look at that?
So this was that funky little piece of wood I had last week. So, and I took your suggestion and made a nice little weed pot.
Nice.
So, but the grain on it turned out really nice.
I like it.
And I left it kind of raw on most sides. And then, I don't know, maybe after the demo, I have another question about resin coating, like the inside of a vessel.
All right. We can get to it.
So
Kim's on audio, if nothing else. We can always lean a little bit on Kim tonight. And we'll do that. All right, who's up next there, folks?
We've got Brenda next.
Brenda.
Hello. Hello.
Keep talking, Brenda.
I'm here.
Oh, let me mute.
I made a couple of bowls this week out of the 2x4s or 2x6s rather that my brother had left over from his deck. So they were treated lumber. And so I just made him a couple more bigger ones. And I tried the water droplets on the bottom of one of them. Can
There you
see?
go.
Does it look like water drops?
It sure does. Where's all the wrinkly stuff at?
I gotta tell you,
Rub it in.
I gotta tell you, I am glad to see somebody else is having trouble instead of me.
Not bad either.
On the other hand, I got one of the Niji printers, you know, and I can't get it to download. So if somebody can maybe give me a call tomorrow, maybe help me out with that.
Okay, is somebody going to call us? Somebody got that? Who's going to do it?
Maybe Donald down in Australia can do that.
I can't do it tomorrow, but
Whatever.
I'm tomorrow, but I can do that.
Brenda, my name and my phone number is on the back of all the videos I produce. Call me. I'll be in the shop tomorrow. We can talk about it. In fact, I'm going to be out there playing my Niji tomorrow.
Caddy?
Is it Niji or Niji?
Caddy?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell about that lady out in California? Where she might
Nancy McIntyre, and they have a Facebook page. If you go to Facebook and you search NEJE, you'll see they have their own Facebook page, and it'll link you up to it, Nancy McIntyre.
I think I wrote her name down last week.
Yeah, she's actually a genius.
Okay.
She can't claim they're designing them, and she can claim to redesign them. Okay, so thank you, Brenda.
All right.
In a minute,
Brenda.
Thank you. Yeah.
Brenda, I do hope
Yes.
you were wearing a dust mask the whole time you were working with that.
Yes, I
treated
was.
lumber.
Actually, I think maybe I wasn't at one point, so I'm coughing again. But
Yeah, that
was.
stuff's pretty nasty. The green stuff has
right.
Copper acid. Anyway, it's dangerous. Real
Right.
dangerous. So
Yeah, it
you don't
was
want
most-
that dust at all.
Right.
It's there to kill bugs.
Yeah.
It's not just it's not like the blue ones you get at Lowe's. Hey, I got to mention John Birch out of Phoenix, Arizona, is one of our viewers or our members. I got to say members. And John sent us a little stipend this week to assist us in some of the expenses at the club and well, we have some expenses. And I want to thank John for his contribution. It's the best way for this organization to grow is I'm not demanding money. I'm not trying to bribe money or beg for money or try to sell anything and make money. If you want the club to progress, jump on board. That's all I can say. If we have Jeff Snell, I hadn't seen Jeff in tonight. Jeff, are you in there?
Yeah, I haven't seen him either.
No, I was just scrolling through here. He handles our safety, but Doug did a pretty good job a minute ago when he told Brenda, be careful what you turn, because when you're turning it and sanding it, you're breathing it. No matter how little it is or how tough you think you are, the dupe-a-duke. Your cuticles and your nails will be all tender. The inside of your nose will get raw in a couple of days. And that is not the hottest wood. There's many more out there. There are some schedules and lists and all this that you can go to and look them up. We don't always get the names right on these woods. And wood turners, we change the name of everything. So why don't you just play it safe and be positive? Once you get it to something like that that's generating dust, mask up. It's not like we don't all know how to mask anyway, but mask up. It'll help save your life. At least keep you from coughing.
Copper arsenic is the chemical that is in that green stuff. Arsenic we know is bad for us. So yeah, we've got to be really careful with pressure treated, especially.
Yeah, I respect it.
Yeah, the old stuff was really bad. The new stuff, they don't put copper in no more, but you don't know how old it is.
Yeah. And do you need to breathe it anyway? No. Okay, Dan Roselle just posted up the Facebook I'll learn how to talk. The Facebook Niji Master Engravers user group is on our chat right now. And a link to Nancy McIntyre is on there also. So there you go, Brenda. You don't have to make a note of it. It's noted in our chat. Folks, save the chat before you leave this evening or tonight. Tons of information on it. I think David, our webmaster, has asked me 2 or 3 times in the last day or two to forward him a copy of last week's chat. And for some reason, I just can't function to get to that point. But I will. I'll get it to you, David. But David's already put the meeting up from last week and the demonstrations and all. And again, we're probably way out in front of the entire rest of the world with a great website. And it's all for you, because of you. And we want you to stay involved. Send us your photographs. Give us your comments. Write us an article. Give us a review on a tool. I mean, that's what I want. That's what you want. I laughed today when I talked to a guy and said, what have you been up to? He said, pissing off making my wife mad because I've been testing the credit card again. Things he heard on this program, he went ahead and bought, which nothing wrong with that, which he's got to learn how to control himself. We're also still collecting Freedom Pens. If you'd be part of that, the address for Doug Rowe is on our website, and you can contact Doug directly and send him the things the ink pens you turn for Freedom Pens. And we're still collecting wig stains. Are you ready, Dane?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, let me click you up here and put you on the spot. Jane Chandler's in Arizona. He did a little piece for us last week. And talk to us, sir. It's your show.
Okay, so last week we turned this piece. And what we're going to do tonight is turn a lid for the top of the vessel. So this is another that I did while at the same time. And so it just sits inside. And so right now it's just got boiled linseed oil on it and soaking in. And then from there, I'll put some shiny stuff on it. That way I can shave. But yeah, it's whoops. It's a simple project. If you watched the video and you guys were here last week, you know, it's pretty simple to do. It's all one piece. It's a 4 by 4 inch by 4 inch square. The vessel is turn the scale around the right way. Is 3 inches on the outside walls. The inside diameter is 2.5 inches, and then the vessel depth is about 1 3/4. So that's what we're going to shoot for today.
Okay, now Billy Burt just joined us. He may have to recap the dimensions a little bit later on. Billy was out having a snack.
Oh no, that's fine. And so with the piece we did last week, once we got into it, we had some voids.
Oh yeah, they showing up.
You can see it, but that was creating a lot of tool chatter, and so I reinforced that yesterday with Parfix 3408 and did a little bit of sanding, you know, to get rid of the overflow. When you go to use super glue to patch something, always remember to put down what you use as a sanding sealer, and it doesn't matter what the sanding sealer is. Sanding sealer is essentially just the first coat of finish that you put on. That's going to go in and seal the wood grain and prevent absorption at a different rate consistently between the piece. So anyhow, so that's what I did, and then I had one blowout here on the side, and so I repaired it.
Again, so, with the 3408?
Yes, and so for that, that's charcoal, and then the same with the other side, you know, and it's all part of this knot that was internal that I didn't see in the 2 foot 4x4 that I had. So went ahead and repaired that, you know, put down a little bit of CA in the broken off piece, the snag catch part. And then from there, you just sprinkle crushed charcoal on top of it, get a layer, and put some more CA down, and you build it up and sand it off, and it does a fabulous job, and it turns into looking something like a mineral deposit or something on the wood. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make a lid for it, and then we're going to turn the tenon off the bottom.
Okay, let's go.
And we're going to be using jam chucks for that.
Good.
So without further ado, so here's my piece. And so what I've done is found my centers, and I do that for both sides and mark it. Ultimately wound up having a smaller square on the inside, took that as my center for each side. Here on this side, this is going to be the bottom of the vessel top. And so I found my diameter for that I want to turn to, that I want to test and make sure, you know, I don't want a snap cap fit, but I just want a nice fit where it goes in and not have any slop in it. That's the goal. So then this side here will be the top side. And what I'll be doing is taking this 1 1/4 inch block 4x4. And first I'll be rounding it off, get rid of the corners, and then making a tenon on the top side. That's going to wind up being the vessel cap knob, because it's all one piece. And whoever's doing admitting folks to the room, please admit them, because they're popping up and they're blocking me and I can't see what's going on. So anyhow, so we're doing a single piece, you know, we're not doing a separate finial top. It's just one top, and it's just a simple knob, just so somebody's got the access to be able to pull it off and dump their rings in or whatever it is that they want to do with it. All right, so put it back between centers. That is my preference. You could use a Forstner bit and make a recess and chuck it up that way in small pin jaws. But again, I prefer turning between centers. You got the 4 corners here. They're very dangerous. You do not want your hand to get clicked with it. So I always take a piece of chalk and mark on my tool rest, even though my hand's going to be behind it. But sometimes you can creep up and catch the end of your hand. You know, so I always mark where those corners are coming in at. And safety device.
Shields up.
Shields up. And so for this, I'm just going to be hogging off the material and pushing in and making my tenon, which is going to wind up being the cap, which the cap will get final turned through a jam chuck. So without further ado, let's spin it up and have at it. Again, I'm comfortable with speed. I've done many square turnings and whatnot. Turning between centers is really, really safe. You're out of the line of fire, so I turn at a fairly high RPM. Again, it's only a 4x4, and I'm sitting around 1,000 to 1,100 RPMs.
I think they call that warp factor 3.
And when you're using a stud center, the beauty of a stud center is it'll spin if you're trying to take off too much material for it. And so all you got to do is crank, give a small crank on the back of your tailstock to tighten things up. Cutting with the bevel, tool handle down, raising it up as I get to the top.
The question came in is he going to leave that corners, those square corners on the piece? No, he's turning a square piece into round, but this is part of the demonstration is if you do not have a bandsaw and you can't circle out wood, don't slow it down. Here well, you can do it.
Was there a question?
A comment.
Oh, okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, so I could have threw it on the bandsaw and circled and took off the corners and everything, or lopped them off by hand. But it's just as quick. Turn it off. So something small like this, it's not a big deal.
No, and you learn how to use your tools.
Exactly. It's additional practice of understanding the wood, how it feels, how it sounds when it's cutting against your tool steel. It gives you the opportunity to manipulate different techniques to see which works best. But yeah, it's not a big deal. You know, you don't need to go, necessarily go over to the bandsaw and circle everything out. By the time you do that, and then by the time you turn it, it's the same, so. All right, so got it rounded. Oh, looky there. And there's a knot on that one. So now I'm going to work this section here to a tenon, which is eventually going to be the knob for the lid vessel. And so I've showed this a couple times now. So I've got for my two different Vicmar chucks, my large jaws and my big jaws, a go no-go gauge for my tenon size. Most people on their lathes are going to have a 2 1/8 inch live center, and all you got to do is take a pencil, put it on there, and draw out your tenon size. And you want to, and then you can work to it, and you won't underturn your tenon.
Thank you.
There's not a problem with it. The audio is sensing out the lathe, and he drops off until it harmonizes.
I'm going to use a skew to set my dovetail. And so now I've got a nice dovetail tenon and a flat wall for the jaws to sit against. And so now we need to work to the diameter that we marked on the bottom. And so we're just going to go slowly and work to that, pop it off the live centers, do test fits. Probably what I ought to do is just turn it around, throw it in the chuck and be done with it. But it's kind of the way I do it, and maybe archaic, but that's what I'm comfortable with. So I want to move my tool rest closer. Always want to turn your lathe off. Just on the off chance you hit it the wrong way, you get startled, you wind up hitting your tool rest into your piece and you're going to ruin it. So it's always better to turn your machine off before you start moving your tool rest. All right, so we're going to do test fit number 1. Just a little large. Again. When you take it off your step center and you're putting it back in, you always want to make sure that that the piece goes back into the serrations that were created when you initially put it on. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with an out of balance. Look for the smaller gouge. Oh, so close.
While Dane's working this in, folks, I want to invite all of y'all that have joined us in the last few moments that this is Dane Chandler. He is out of Arizona, and he's turning the lid for that box that's on top of his lathe. It's a two-part project. He did one part last week. We're going to put the lid together, turn it around, and finish the bottom off the second piece tonight. This is a demonstration, much like what you can do. And Dane is producing this using his iPhone. That's right.
Oh, if only it was horseshoes. And we got our fit. It's not a snap cap, but it just fits right in. And so now I'm going to turn it around so we can turn our bottom, make the cove in it. Actually, put it in the chuck. So I'm going to take my live center off so I don't bump it with my elbow or the back of my arm. And push the tailstock down to the end of the lathe. That way it's out of your way. And so all I'm going to do is make a cove in here, make it concave. We might even take the spiraling tool and put some spirals in it. Oh, so let's go ahead and give it a whirl. I haven't done any texturing in a while. So I have a Sorby large spiraler with my helmet off here. So Robert Sorby large spiraling tool. I think I've got the 6mm wheel on it, and it's got the platform. And so what you want to do is put the platform on your tool rest. Make sure you got enough room, because you should start the spiraling tool below center, engage, bring it to center, and work through on your piece. RPM wise, I've found that low RPMs are better. So somewhere around, I guess, 400 to 700, the tool performs really well. So we'll give it a try here and see if we can't make some spirals all the way to the center. So I'm at 570. Starting low, handle is up. Engage. And work it to the center. And so now we got some firefly texturing in there. All right, so from here, we're going to take it out of the chuck and use our jam chuck to finish the top of the lid. And here's our jam chuck, the original piece. So we left a tenon on so we could remount it. We marked the location of one of the jaws, that way we can line it back up on the same jaw, so we don't have to worry about it being out of round. You do not have to crank down on your tenon. Cranking down on your tenon will crush the wood fibers, and that is what will cause your blank to pop off. And so now we're going to put our lid in. Put our live center in. Going to advance the quill. And for pressure wise, what I do is on something like this, with the actual vessel being the jam tool, I engage the live center to be pushing in on the lid or the top or whatever it is that you're trying to turn. And then I give it a couple cranks on the tailstock, but without it being engaged, locked down. And that's plenty of pressure right there to hold your piece. Usually. Probably now that I said something, it'll disagree with me. So line up your tool rest.
For those just joining us, Dane's going to also give you the caution about those little wings that are sticking out.
Yes, sir. So once again, it's just like habit. I grab that chalk, and I mark it. I know my hand's not going to be over there, but all it takes is just one miscue, and it'll take a chunk out of your hand, and you'll wish that you'd never done a square turning before. All right, so with a 1/2 inch gouge, I'm going to work with a 1/2 inch gouge. I'm going to work bowl gouge. I am going to work this cap into some type of top. I have no specific idea what it's going to look like. The wood's going to tell me, and we'll go from there. Always check to make sure everything's right and tight. So when I'm doing a included finial in a cap like this, or an included button, knob, whatever you want to call it, I'll normally turn and make sure that I've got a little excess piece that's got the hole in it from your live center that I'll take the chisel after the fact and knock off. That way, when you're done with your lid, you don't have a hole sitting in it, or the nice little round circle that's been supplied by your live center.
Are those shearing cuts, Dane?
Dane, the question came out, are those shearing cuts?
I'm going to take a negative rake scraper, come along and make sure everything is even and sitting flush with the vessel.
3/8" detail gouge. We're going to try and put down the sacrificial tin in here, sitting on the light center.
I think that'll do it for that. Lid aside. So now, so that's the finished product. I still got to cut this off. So here we are with nice little jewelry caddy.
Are you going to cut that off, Dane?
Yeah, I'm going to cut that off after I do the tendon hair, and then when we go back and start doing the regular show again, I'll get it cut off, and then we can come back and look at it.
How are you going to cut it off?
Oh, I'm going to use a bench chisel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to chuck it up and do it on the lathe?
No,
Okay.
I'm not a fan of doing it that style. I know a lot of people do, but I hate like heck, you know, to put in the time and effort for something, and then you're trying to cut that little piece off and everything goes cattywampus on you, spins around and tears everything up. You know what I mean, Matt?
I do. I've been there. Thanks.
Right? Yeah.
They call it the hero move. All right, who are y'all heroes?
Yeah, right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a jam chuck in. I got a bucket full of jam chucks, various stuff labeled for various projects, and so you know, for the last year and a half, you know, I'm sure everybody's heard me talk about marking your jaw position. So when you go to take something off and put it back on, everything is still running concentric. So I've got that here on my jam chuck. I always use jaw number 1 as my reference point. So we're going to put this bad boy in. Again, doesn't require torquing down. And so now we've got our vessel. What we're going to do is turn it around, and I've been doing these for so long, I pretty much know the diameter to turn on these. The outside diameter is basically 3 inches. And yeah, so this one is 2 3/4 for the outside diameter. And then the recess for the lid walls is 2 3/8. And I typically make them, you know, when it's a 4x4 stock, I typically make them all basically the same size. It's what comes up. So this one's 3 inches, and the inside diameter for the lid vessel is 2 3/8. So we're going to put our piece on. We're going to turn the bottom tenon off, or finish the bottom, or add decoration or whatever. So you got your tenon, you still got your center point from when you initially turned down the stock. So this is your guide point of centering things up on a jam chuck. lock it down, give it a small crank. This one's going to make noise, so to alleviate that, I'll put a napkin on it.
Paper napkin.
There we go. And that acts like a lubricant for it. I don't particularly care for the squealing. All right, Brenda, you see what I'm doing here?
Yes, sir.
Brenda? All right.
Yep.
All right. So from here, you want to get close, and then you're just going to nibble away at your tenon bottom here. It's still going to make noise on me. All right. Well, bear with me, guys. I'm going to use my 3/8 inch gouge. Woo!
Oh, mini bike.
Huh?
Sounded like a little mini bike taking off. Whee!
I know, right? Crazy. All right. Anybody want to know what that is? It's grease for wood. So that's diluted boiled linseed oil and natured alcohol, pretty much 70% DNA, 30% linseed oil. I got to say, this is a first. Never had one making noise like that. Keep going like that, right, Matt?
I don't think that's nice, Matt, to ask him, did he check his blinker fluid today?
That wasn't me. That was Doug.
Oh, Doug asked, did you check your blinker fluid today, Dane?
No, but it's on the schedule for tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
There's a question
All
about
right.
the flux capacitor too.
All right, so we got the bottom done. Then I'll knock that off with a bench chisel. Here's our top. Everything's nice and flush and concentric. And like I said, I'm gonna knock this top off, and we'll come back and look at it later on here in the program.
Great. All right. Well, we'll join you again in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Nice job.
Any
Very nice,
questions?
Dane.
Nice job.
Yeah, that's cool, Dane.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good. All right.
I'm gonna have to make one of those for the wife.
Oh, Jason, I'm telling you, they
Put a ring in
or
it.
at least for me, they are a real hit, especially during the holidays for Christmas time. My wife's got certain, I've made bunches of them for her out of some really cool exotics, larger ones. And anytime I post something online about doing these, boom, they're like that. So I really like it. It's a quick project. You're able to work your various tool techniques and presentation to the material. You're having to use alternative means for rechucking using the jam chuck, or using the vessel itself as the jam chuck for the lid. Yeah, other than that, I mean, it's a great project. It's got a little bit of spindle turning in it and bowl turning all in one. So
A lot of fun, a lot of learning.
absolutely.
Well, I do have an anniversary coming up this month, so
Look at those
but I think
shavings.
she'll want a new ring in it though too.
So Jason, what I would tell you is go get yourself a 5x5 block of lace wood and do
Lacewood?
one out of it. I'll bring one of those out and show you all what it looks like. But lace wood is just fantastic for this type of piece.
Okay.
All right, you guys go
Yeah,
ahead.
find one.
Eddie, it's back to you, buddy.
Okay. We're going to go to the gallery again. One of my other co-hosts is going to pick up and put you, if you'd like to show something, put it in the chat. The co-host will go to the chat. He'll call you up and now wait, let me get this, just so you can follow along with this. When we introduce you, you have to start talking, because there's over 100 people in the program tonight, and we can't go through the screen to see who's talking or who's not talking or what time to get about. But once you start talking, our little screen will identify you. So once we say, Billy Bird, it's your time to talk, start talking, Billy. Not at this time, okay? Got to remind you a couple of things we have going on. We're still in that wig stand challenge. And what that is you turn a wig stand. We have videos on it. We have details. We have dimensions, all this other stuff on that. Turn a wig stand. Turn a wig stand. When you do, take a photograph of it and send it on to our webmaster and tell them how many of these wig stands that you've done, just so that Dave can track you and put you on the program, and we know how well we're treating our neighbor, our community. Hold on, I had to do a little something there for the background noise. I believe we had a demonstration set up for next week. I do not have it confirmed, so it probably didn't get set up. Been a little bit mad around here lately. I have to, a little while ago, we were talking about the stem and the cups and all that, and he did the little decoration using the Sorby tool. This evening, my wife came through the room as I was working on the newsletter, which is a continuing thing, because I have the next one, July, ready to go already. So it might not be July. But she saw a goblet with a stem, little base, and she stopped and said, "That is beautiful. I really like that piece." Matt, she was talking about your work, bud.
Thank you very much.
She really loved it. It's going to be in this month's newsletter. But
the base is only small in proportion because of the angle I took the camera at. It's actually the same exact size as the rim.
That's why we collect the photographs for our newsletter and for our website, is to see what type of work you do, how you do it, what art you've got included in it, and give other turners an idea. Do we have one of the co-hosts watching out for our gallery tonight? Okay. All right. You got something you'd like to show, so with that, we didn't get that worked out. If you got something to show, speak up now. You don't always forever hold your peace and thing like that.
I was going to do it, Eddie, but I lost my connection and dropped out of the meeting, so I've lost all the chat. So if anyone had posted anything in there, I haven't got it.
Eddie, I could take care of the or for people who want to show things, if you like.
You can help out, yes, you certainly can.
All right, give me a second, find everybody.
This is Kim. Kim does nice bathrooms. She doesn't do windows, but she creates nice town working bathrooms.
Not anymore, I retired. All right, so let's see, we have, I'm sorry, I'm going back through the chat to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I have a piece, but we're going to go ahead with Billy. It looks like Billy's right after me.
Billy Bird.
Let me get him on the screen here. There we go.
Well, if I'm after you, why am I going before you?
Ladies first.
Go.
All right. Let's get going here, Billy.
Go, Billy.
Am I up?
Yes, sir, you are.
I was asked to I was asked to do some kind of embellishment on 6 birch cane bodies, and I decided to keep one for myself. I roughly turned it. They're pretty much cattywampus. And I roughly turned it and then hand carved it with a Dremel. And I kept this one for myself. I don't need a cane right now, but I may one of these days. And I took a piece of fallow antler. It was a natural fall. And used that for the handle. I took a 1 by 3/4 inch brass plumbing coupler, female, and turned it down on the lathe as well to make my ferrule. And there's a double-ended lag bolt going into the wood and into the antler. And I figured the brass should be strong enough. It's about an 1/8 inch thick. I left it. I cleaned some of the threads up on the inside. And so this is actually screwed into the ferrule and then the lag bolt into that. And then the antler screwed onto the lag bolt and into the remainder of the threads in here. So I figured that should be plenty strong.
Look good. Really nice.
Thank you. I finished it with antique oil finish, Minwax antique oil finish.
Okay.
That's it.
Very nice, Billy. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. Who's up next, Kim?
We have MENRC is his screen name. I cannot. Okay, now I can pin him. Sorry, I couldn't before. You're up.
Yeah, you have to talk to us.
Lower your camera a little bit so we can see you and unmute yourself, please. Go ahead and push the space bar to unmute yourself. It's still muted. You might have to go ahead and tap the screen to unmute. I know on mine sometimes the space bar doesn't work, so you might have to take your mouse and actually unmute it.
That do it?
There we
Now
go.
we got
Now
you.
we can hear you.
I made a wig stand. Wanted to show it.
Wow, that's nice.
It's all done with skew, the spindle. Trying to emulate that guy in Canada.
Nice. Very well done.
Thank you.
All right, we see your screen name, but what is your real name?
Roger.
Roger, I thought that was it.
I'll talk to you.
All right, looks like Glenn. Let me find you. Go ahead and speak up for us. So we can
Okay,
find
I'm
you.
here. Ready?
No, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to find you. I'm a little
Just keep
slack.
talking, Glenn. Keep
Okay.
talking, Glenn.
I've got a little box to show.
Oh, I'll move your
So,
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. All right, now we can do it. There you go.
Ah,
Glenn.
somebody's got them. Thank you.
Okay, I just finished up a little lidded box today. It's out of that aluminide resin. I had poured. I had used a water bottle, and I plugged it with a piece of walnut, and then I put the pine cone on the inside, and then I filled it with the aluminide resin, and I made a blue tint on it, and then I made me a little walnut lid, and I did a little bit of it's kind of hard to see. Did a little bit of texturing in there. It's kind of hard to see it. It's kind of fine, but just a little wooden little lidded box for my sister-in-law. They're coming into town this weekend, so I made a little something for her. So
Looks good.
That is
Nice.
awesome.
Put it back a little bit. Maybe the light will catch the side of it. Turn it so
There you go. Now we can see through it.
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice.
Oh, that's really pretty.
That's cool.
it's about an eighth inch thick, but I think I've got one more of them that I poured that I need to turn, but I hate turning that resin. It just but I was turning it with a regular carbide insert, and it was chipping everywhere, and then I used the insert with the negative rake, and then it worked fine. But that's some stuff that I don't really care to turn. So, but
Say you
that's
used a
all.
cup.
Pardon?
You say you used a cup of some kind to make the as the mold.
Oh yeah, I just used a water bottle.
Oh, water bottle. Okay.
I cut the plastic water bottle. I just cut the bottom out, and I turned a piece of aluminum that would fit aluminum. I turned a piece of walnut to fit inside the water bottle, and then I epoxied it in, and then I put the pine cone in, and then poured the resin on the inside.
Looks good. Beautiful technique, really.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Gary
all
in
I have.
Sorry.
That's pretty.
Gary in Texas, you're up.
Okay, yeah,
Let
I'm
me pin
talking
you.
so you
I
can
found
find
you.
me.
There you are. We
Yep.
got you.
Okay. This was my first attempt at a segmented bowl, and I was making it for my sister for a knitting bowl. It's got walnut, purple heart, a yellow heart, and maple. And like I say, it was my first attempt at a segmented bowl.
Oh, it's good. Your first attempt. That's
That's
great.
a pretty excellent
like you've done
it a lot of
times.
first attempt there.
You
Nice,
nailed it.
Gary.
Sure, it's your first.
Very nice.
And
Yeah.
that looks like you've done it a lot of times.
Yeah.
No. Anyhow, thank you much. That's it.
Thank you, Gary. Boy, it's nice
Thank
to
you,
see
Gary.
people
It's
bragging
beautiful.
about great work. Man, that's
We-
good. All right, who you have up, Kim?
We have David from Michigan. I think he was saying he needed to show something, and I'm still searching for him.
David's still talking, sir.
David from Michigan.
Oh, we may have lost
David
him.
J. Maybe he took off.
David George?
Oh, there he is. I see his face. I just can't hear him. Okay. We're going to pin him. All right. Now, go ahead, David. We can't hear you still. You're unmuted, but for some reason, we can't hear you. It's a beautiful piece, but we still can't hear you. Did you unplug your headphones?
I can't see him either.
We can't see him, but I can't unmute him.
Yeah.
That's David George.
He's not.
There he
he's
is.
not muted. We
Now
just
he
can't
came
hear him.
in. Now we got him.
I can see him, but I'm not hearing him.
Yeah, he's for some reason it's audio in his end. Maybe he may not have it set up.
No, David, if you speak
No.
louder, we still can't hear you.
Yeah, we're so sorry. But that is a beautiful piece, though. Is it a wig stand? That's a pretty nifty wig stand.
Or
Nope,
oh, those are pretty.
those
Salt and
are
pepper?
beautiful.
Pretty.
Maybe.
Grinders, look like grinders.
I
Maybe
think
if
what
you-
he said is they're salt and pepper shakers.
Yep,
Yeah.
some Spectraply. Beautiful.
Salt and pepper shaker.
I'm so sorry we can't hear you.
So technology's not agreeing with him tonight. That's okay, but beautiful work, David. Appreciate you showing. Who up we have now? It's a little bit early.
Let's see. I think that is it. Other than nope, Scott in Wisconsin.
I'm here. Can you
Okay,
see me?
let's find you.
I'm still here. Whoa.
Oh, there you are.
We have you now, Scott.
Okay.
Please.
I don't know if you can see this real
Oh,
well.
pull it back towards you.
I'm just trying to show you the color. This
Oh,
is a
we
piece
see
of,
it.
This is a piece of purple lilac. I cut some lilac a year ago, and this has been drying in my shop, and it's actually got a real distinct purple color to it.
Well, it does.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty.
And it smells
It's really
really good
pretty.
when you're cutting it. Smells like black licorice when
pretty.
you're cutting it.
Well,
That's
Very
beautiful.
That's all I
Jason.
have.
I'm sorry,
you. Go ahead. You said
Jason-
Jason's got a
Yeah,
question.
Jason's got a question.
Yeah, this is more towards Kim.
Uh-oh. Wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Yep.
And I quit tiling a week ago, so.
Oh. Not something I do very often, but so I got this little, I don't know, cup type of deal, and I want to coat the inside with resin.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think it's the Alumilite Clear. What's the best way to go about doing that?
Well, first of all, make sure that it's the one that is food safe. And
It is?
you can't put hot items in there. I actually called Alumilite and they said that you can put cold things but not hot things. So make sure you let whoever knows is going to use it, they can put anything hot. The best way of going about it is mix very little. Keep your lathe spinning. You have a Harbor Freight lathe?
Modified.
Okay, so you can go slower than you can go about 50 RPMs.
Yeah.
Okay,
Roughly
so
about that.
yeah, the slower the better. I find that between 70 and 90 is too much, but 50 is really good. At least that's how slow mine will go, so it works for me. Very thin coats, and just you can coat it down on the inside with it really good, and then use a small paintbrush or whatever you have. Sometimes with those pieces, I actually just use my hand and a glove. It will self-level. Just keep it spinning until it's cured with Alumilite. I'm not sure as far as the timing goes because I've never used it. So that would be something, just keep it spinning until it no longer sags or moves. Thin coats are your best friend because if you put more, it'll start to sag more. Make sure you clean it off really good with denatured alcohol because oil will cause the resin to separate from the piece. I'm trying to think of any other tips that would help you out. Sanding sealer works really well on it. I use shellac and denatured alcohol mixed for my sanding sealer. That will help eliminate some of the bubbles that you may get. And I call them little nipples that appear in the resin surface because the air is trying to escape while the resin is curing because it's displacing. So make sure you put a few coats of sanding sealer on, and that will help prevent any of those little air bubble nipples that you can get. And other than that, I've never used Alumilite to coat with. So
Yeah, no, not all Alumilites will work for that, by the way. Some you absolutely just have to have pressure, otherwise
some will have
you're
to have
going to
pressure.
have bubbles like crazy.
And it's worth a try. You don't need very much of it. Like I would say, I mean, for our total boat, my total boat, it's just 2 squirts, and I still have enough left over to coat my some of my my picnic table. I'm slowly but surely coating it with resin with my leftovers.
Little by little.
Yeah, little by
All
little.
right.
Tell me this,
Well, I'll
epoxy
give
people,
her a shot.
Yeah,
does-
it's one of those things. Just go for it. Worst comes to worst, that you
Well,
learn
originally this
what
was
not to do.
going to be one of the stainless steel cup inserts, but it just didn't work out. So
Yeah. Well, let us know how that works after you try it. I think we'd all be interested. Everybody here probably uses different resins, and learning from your mistakes will help us keep us from making your mistakes.
Yep.
Tell me this, you
So then
guys. Does the carbon dioxide thing work? Some of the resins I've used, they say if you breathe on them or use a propane torch to generate carbon dioxide around them, that helps the bubbles come out. I mean, you're not heating it; you're just breathing carbon dioxide on the surface. Does that work for the total boat? Does that work for the Luminite?
Don't know.
Okay.
It does work for Alumilite to a degree, but it unless you want to be standing there for hours, no.
Well, what I've done, the ones I've done in the past, it takes a while for things to start to percolate. So I let it dry, let it cure for 10 minutes and drip or whatever, and then come in and use the torch about a foot away from it to blow some carbon dioxide
Right.
over, and that helps it come out. And then leave it go for another 10 minutes and come back and do it again. So
I find. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Billy. I'm sorry.
I was going to say I find liquid diamonds to be much better for that sort of thing, because liquid diamonds doesn't require pressure to cure clear, and it's a slow cure, so it'll take long. It takes a little longer to set up, but it'll absolutely dry bubble free. You'll probably want to leave it running slow on the lathe for a few hours though.
Yeah, the same as for Total Boat. I found the medium set works best for me. The more you mix of any epoxy resin, because it's an exothermic reaction that causes it to cure, which is the heat, even your starting temperature in your shop when mixing it will determine how fast. And the more you mix in one container, the faster it will cure. So I actually had a phone call from someone in the meeting, and we kind of spoke about it because he was having some difficulties with it. So you don't, for finishes, you don't need a lot. So the smallest little cups, and like I said, for our pumps on the Total Boat, it's just maybe 2 pumps depending on how large the piece is, the thin coats, and then just keeping it spinning. And the cure time will depend on how warm it is outside. To start with, we're here in Florida, and the stuff will go off pretty quickly. So it's one of those things you want to experiment on, maybe something that you're not too, fond of in case, but the worst comes to worst, you let it completely
My
cure.
experience with the ones that I've used is I'll go back and sand it, and then hit it with a coat of lacquer and buff it.
Yes, and you can absolutely do that. So not all is lost when you coat with resin. Yeah, not all is lost when you coat with resin, because even if it didn't turn out like you want, you can sand it back and then just, wet sand from there, or do a plastic polish or something over it. So there's always a
Right.
way out. Or
same with CA.
Yeah, same thing. So yeah, it's one of those, go for it. Worst things that happens is you learn what not to do next time.
Somebody jumped in here. Whoever just entered, and I have to turn off your share screen.
What you got, Jason?
Well, Alabaster,
Uh-huh.
I think is what it is, but that's kind of one of my next projects I got to figure out.
I'm trying to pin you, but I can't, so people can see it. There you go.
So this is a small chunk of it.
Yes, it is.
So, and I've never messed with it. So it was given to me by another wood turner that I bought a bunch of tools from. He was retiring and moving to Florida. So
it is absolutely critical that you have good dust collection and wear breathing protection. So, because the dust is lethal. So Yeah, but
But
it's fun. You'll make some nice stuff.
That's kind of my next piece, I think. I'm going to start off with the small chunk. I have another chunk that's huge. So
You'll enjoy it.
quite a few
If
of them.
nothing else, you will enjoy it.
So would it be wise to use carbide or just traditional tools? Because I heard it could go either way.
I really
Traditional
like
tools.
it. I really
Yeah.
like traditional tools. I really
Me
do.
too.
And because you have to learn how to slice it.
Well,
You can't beat on it.
It is hard on the tools though. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've tried the alabaster and the other stone that I've turned soapstone also. I don't have any pieces here. Yeah, I went to scrapers because I was getting better cuts and I mean, you're taking light cuts. It's really hard on the tools. It dulls things quickly. So I was honing a lot and I didn't want to screw up my bowl gouge, really, frankly.
Yeah. Antler and bone's the same way.
Is it? Okay, cool. Good to know.
The
I've got a
antler
couple
bones
chunks
stink.
Yeah, they do.
I got a couple of chunks of alabaster myself too. There's a place nearby that sells stone for sculptors, and one of these days I'm going to get to it. So
one of these
I know.
days.
Okay, question. I
I
thought
almost don't
alabaster
want to
was
turn it
wood.
because it's helping weigh down my leg.
Stone.
Someone said they thought alabaster was wood and not stone.
No. I said that wrong. I meant that I thought it was stone and not wood.
it is stone.
Okay.
Absolutely, it is stone. That's why you got to be wary of the dust, and that's why
Okay.
it dulls your tools quick. Yep, it's stone.
Okay.
Just
And no
like
matter how you
soapstone.
cut it, where you put it
Yeah.
on a bandsaw, anything, any way you
Wear a mask.
pulverize that material, wear a mask.
Good dust collection on top of
mask,
it.
and eye protection too. Yeah,
Eye
very
protection.
critical.
I have my piece
Okay.
to show.
Hello.
If no one
All right.
else, if
Hey,
no one
we get
else
to
is
see
up,
Kim's.
yay! I got my camera working finally. So,
Hello.
all right. So this is polymer clay and resin, and it's an oak like 2-inch piece or what have you. These polymer clay chips in here I actually made. You make a cane, you cut them up, bake them, and I've been experimenting. I don't have my other bowl. I've been experimenting with them because my concern is that, you know, even though they're baked, they're kind of soft. So, I mean, that you can break them up by hand, need be. But yeah, they worked really good in here, and this will be my Thursday video, this Thursday video. And I show most of my video is showing what you kind of go through to make the cane, to make the design. And maybe if that's focusing, and you can do so many things with polymer clay. I don't know if you've seen that some people are actually using them for pen blanks. I've made a few pen blanks and turn pens. I'm having a tricky time with getting the polymer clay to stay on the tube. I'm not sure if I'm not baking it long enough. I'm still kind of in the experimental stage. As soon as I do get it down, I would like to do a demonstration of that, or at least pre-record, because I don't have internet in my shop very well. So I'll probably pre-record so that way you guys can see how to make polymer clay pen blanks, because you bake it right on the brass tubes and it turns so smooth. Like literally you could just use sandpaper to turn it. It's really neat. The resin is definitely harder than the polymer clay. And it's soft and it's really nice to work with, and no matter how much you take off, because this is a tube that is this pattern, and you take slices, that you don't have to worry about, you know, distorting it or messing it up and stuff. So it's a really neat new experiment to try.
What'd you slice it with?
I watch all these videos on YouTube on how to do these polymer clay canes, and they use a tissue blade, what they call a tissue blade, which is a real thin, sharp, long, flexible razor blade. I've just been using the box blades, the refill box blades, because that's what I have. And so I just kind of used what I got, and
obviously it worked.
It did. And you have to let the polymer clay rest a little bit, because when you work it and it's really warm, it's very pliable and really squishy. But if you make your cane and just let it sit, you can let it sit overnight if you want. It hardens up enough to where when you make your slices, it doesn't squish it. You know, so those are some tips that I'll share. It's not going to be a very detailed on how to do polymer canes as far as all the technical stuff, because I'm not professional at it, but I know enough to at least get to this point and maybe get some people's interest in doing polymer clay, because it is a really neat, you can make jewelry, you can make bowls without, you know, you can make all kinds of stuff with polymer clay. It's one of those, wow, you know, like you could do almost anything with it, but it's fun to add those details in your pieces and incorporate other arts, other mediums. That's kind of, you know.
And you had the patience to let that rest overnight? I'm impressed.
I did not. I cut it. We went out to dinner and we came back and I was like,
I saw your in progress pictures on Facebook. Those were great. Very interesting.
Yeah. And these particular canes I had made previous, and then I recorded a video of making some. So they're not the same ones that I made in the video, because I ended up not liking them as much as this color, but it kind of gives you an idea. And there are so many, you know, YouTube, it's amazing. There's no excuse not to know how to do anything, because so many people are amazing and they share so many cool stuff. So yeah.
Thank you,
Really
Kim.
pretty.
Appreciate that tonight. Uh-oh, I lost it. I had.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes. This is Dave Edwards in Michigan.
David, I got you now, sir. We can hear you.
Can I show my stuff now?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Great. This is the grinder.
Pull it back to you. There you go.
This is one of the grinders that I made. It's called a grinder because you can grind salt or pepper or any other spice that you want to put in them.
So you got the ceramic hardware?
Yes, it does.
Yep.
See?
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
it's pretty.
nice.
It's a nice
Those are
piece,
really pretty.
Dave.
I love the shapes of them. They're very modern-y. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're hand friendly.
Yes.
And this is what I started out with, a block like this here. And this is made by some company that makes them. It starts with Sperrio or something like that there, and it's
Spectraply.
like a plywood.
Is it Spectraply?
Yeah. And I've had these blanks for a long time, and I just started. I made a couple of them. That's all. So that's what I have.
So I have a question. I have a question for you. How did you get your balls on the top to be very similar in size? Did you use a guide or a gauge or a template?
I cut both of them up the same, and I was working them both the same, and doing the angles and the ball. I did it by eye. That I had a piece of plywood that I had put the diameter that I wanted to put into it, and you just slip it over the thing and then turn it from side to side, the plywood, and it will tell you what you have to take off and what you can't take off.
Perfect. Thank you.
And the bottom is recessed.
Yep.
There. It's recessed so that it's down below the circle, but it shows that it don't have no seam.
Right.
So
It's a nice move, nice detail.
that's what I came up with. Sorry to bother you again, but
You didn't bother us.
No, that's fine. Not a bother.
All right, everybody that wants to throw them out of the club, raise your hand.
Thank you. I'll do it.
Right. Hey, Trey.
Is that Johnny?
No, we're trying to get to Trey.
Well, I'm
He's
gonna
in
take
here
the light
twice. Here we go. Trey, you there?
Who's that?
There he is. You're muted, buddy.
I can't hear you.
There he is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was cutting grass and lost track of time.
but I'm glad you got it. I had some polymer clay samples I wanted to show you that somebody else did, but it's jewelry type work.
That's polymer
That's
clay.
awesome.
That's polymer clay, and that's a cane. It's done with a cane. Here's some other samples.
Wow, that's nice,
Wow.
Trey.
They're beautiful.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Who did those?
You know, Barbara did. She's out of Atlanta.
Huh.
That is some beautiful work.
It's all done with making canes.
The canes are very relaxing to build because number one, you're in the air condition, which is a bonus. They're really relaxing to build.
Yeah, but you can see some of the work that can be done with the polymer clays.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting medium to work with.
It is.
All right, thank you, Trey.
So,
All right,
okay,
so
I just wanted to show you some of it because it's some beautiful work that you actually can do some beautiful stuff with. It's not me, but
We're
go ahead.
looking. I'm looking at demonstrators. Somebody that would like to
Absolutely.
share more of this technique. If you'd like to do this demonstration, and you have blonde hair, blue eyes, and really nice.
And happen to have a Florida zip code.
Yeah, just man,
You know,
that
not-
sounds
not
like
to put
maybe
you on
she might be
spot.
in my neighborhood.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, you're not in Broward County, so you're good.
Yeah, the light might be too bright, but this is
Right on.
this is a non-baked. This is a cane that I put together, and I literally just threw stuff together. I don't know if I'm pinned. Let me see if I can pin this.
You're pinned.
Oh, I am. Okay, sorry, I couldn't see it. I can't see
Not
my
anymore.
little. Oh.
Now we up. Now you up.
Okay, I'm so sorry. It's hard to tell because my camera's doing
Yeah,
something.
right. You had it just a second ago. Right there. Good.
Okay. So you can see all these like details and designs, and this is just by layering and you know, it's real fun. And this is before it's baked, so it's nice and squishy. You can see I can squish it with some pressure. And then you slice them, and obviously you want to slice them on the thick side, so that way when you cut them away, you'll still have some left depending on what you plan on doing with it. If you wanted to turn this into a pen blank, you'd bake it just like this, and then drill a hole and put it on there or coat it. I'll do a demonstration once I get the pen blanks down, because I think that would be more of a where people would probably use it the most is in pen blanks. And then obviously if you make your canes, then you can utilize your canes for whatever after that. But I will do a demonstration on how to put these on your brass tubes and then bake them on your brass tubes. As soon as I get it all worked out, it's been an up and down process. A lot of fails.
Dane, that sounded like a commitment. Dane, does that sound to you?
Yeah, it sounded like something going on here within a couple weeks.
So I better figure this out quick.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have a problem with the copper expanding and contracting more than the clay?
The copper?
Brass.
Yeah,
The brass
the
tube.
brass, because
Oh, okay.
the metal's gonna move more than the clay is.
Well, see, that may be one of the issues. I'm not sure. I've used I've sanded the brass tubes, molded them on the brass tube. You kind of make it bulky so that way you can sand it down, and then bake it. I'm not really having so much a problem of that I can see. It's more of I'm a little aggressive, number one, when turning small things, and it's crumbling off, like if I'm not baking it long enough, so that way it actually hardens on the tube. I know Penn State is actually selling polymer canes that look like little puppy faces in the little kit that you can actually apply them to the tubes yourself. So I'm not sure what they're using to glue that polymer to that tube. I've used PVA glue, which is And that actually seemed to work the worst. It came off the quickest when I went to go turn it. So I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong, the reason why it's not sticking to the tube.
Okay, can I throw a nickel in here?
Yes,
You have to abrade the tube, but instead of abrading it around the tube, abrade it to the length of the tube. You've created a cross surface, so your glue's got something to actually lock onto. It will come naturally to the other material, but on copper or brass, it will not come naturally to it. So you put striations, even with 180 or 220 grit, just break down the sheen on that so it's got something to adhere to.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I actually took 80 grit and I kind of just like started random sanding it so that way it would like have something to adhere
Maybe
to.
sand the length of the tube instead of around the tube.
I did kind of both because I figured I needed some, I was in the idea of like doing like a lattice kind of sanding. The first one I was a little lazy and just did back and forth like this. And the very first one actually turned out. We're moving, so everything's packed right now. So I can't find the pin that I did. That my son actually made the cane. It looks like Spider-Man. It's perfect. And that one, I just kind of like lackadaisy did it and it worked out the best. And everyone since then, since I've been trying, it hasn't been working out. So
yeah,
I don't understand what I did
How hot
wrong.
do you have to bake it? What temperature do you bake it to?
Every clay is different as far as their temperatures and length of time, but I think this one is hold on. If I can see it. My arms aren't long enough sometimes. I think it's 275 for, 275, 15 minutes per quarter inch.
Okay.
What brand,
So,
Paul,
kinda
what
like
brand
cooking a
polymer clay
turkey.
are you using?
I'm sorry, Matt, you said what kind of?
What brand? Are you using Sculpey?
I've used Sculpey. I've ordered the El Cheapo polymer clay on Amazon. Like you can buy a whole kit and it's like really, really cheap. And those don't work at all. They crumble. Like you can, after you bake them, you can just crumble them in your hands. They don't.
So Sculpey is better?
Sculpey, so far, I've gotten a hold of Arteza because they also sell some polymer clay to see if they would send me some to do a demonstration to try it out. I haven't gotten a response from them yet. I do want to try, the other one is Primo. I think Primo clay. I want to try some of it, just buy a little bit of it and see if that might work better. I don't know what brand Penn State is actually, what kind of clay or what brand of clay they're using for their canes to sell. I guess I could always call and find out.
They don't say on their website. Yeah, I was just looking.
Yeah, it was in their magazine and I was like, where's the name Britain? They don't tell what brand. So
well, I would be concerned about two things. And looking at the jewelry side. One, when you heat the brass, it's going to oxidize, which is going to give you a layer to prevent the bonding. When we solder, you put flux on solder to prevent it from oxidizing so you get a good joint.
Yeah, but how hot do you have to get brass in order for it to start vaporing or?
I don't know what temperature. It starts oxidizing at room temperature, but I'm not sure, not quickly, but when you heat it up, I'm not sure at 275 how much oxidation you get.
But it's also not exposed to oxygen because it's got clay on it. It's got clay on it, so it's not exposed to oxygen.
Well, and that would help. I would think that may seal it. The other thing is the copper tubing is going to expand more than the clay.
Brass tubing.
And when it starts cooling down, the brass tubing is going to shrink smaller than the clay. When the clay gets hard at the temperature, unless it shrinks back with it, the brass tube may actually get smaller than the clay and separate from the clay because the brass tube is going to shrink so smaller. It starts out the same size, but when you heat it up, the brass tube is going to get bigger and expand more than the clay does. And when it cools back down to room temperature, if the clay is hardened if the clay hardens at that temperature and is no longer soft, it may separate from it.
I see what you're saying. The clay doesn't, I know one thing, just to input for ideas. The clay, whatever size I cut it and bake it, that's the size that comes out the oven. So I could, I was actually going to make segments. So that way, when I did this bowl, it was like putting segments together. I could cut this to the shape of segments, but I figured, okay, that would take a lot of time. And I didn't really want to demonstrate something that technical for the video, but it doesn't change size. You bake it and it's the same size it was when you put it in the oven. So I see what you're saying.
The brass
clay.
brass tube's gonna get bigger.
Yes,
in
I
the
understand
inside and push the clay out bigger. And then when it cools back down, the brass tube is going to be smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to go back to its original size because it's going to try to push it out. Now, a way to fix that would be to just take the polymer clay, make the tube out of it, and then drill it afterwards.
That is a possibility, but the only problem doing that is, say you put this design in there. The only way you can get that design to be on the pen, outside of the pen, is by doing slices and putting them around something.
Well, you could put them around a round piece of clay.
Or a scrap piece of clay. Which I tried that, and I actually
clay about the same size. Drill a hole.
The people who are doing these, the people who are
Guys,
doing these
a quick question.
The people who are doing these
I
are
know a
just
lot of things. If you want to separate it out, if you want to separate glue, you can heat it up, and a lot of glues will break down when you heat them. Could that be the problem?
That could be the problem with the PVA glue. Matt, what were you saying? Sorry, you said a lot of
the
people are doing this.
These, and I have seen this done before years ago, and this is how I remember it also. I've just been looking online myself. The people who are doing these are not using glues. They are basically constructing a sheet using the cane slices and then rolling it into the brass pan and cooking it just like that.
Yes.
So
yes.
the expansion contraction factor does not seem to be an issue.
Yes, that's how I originally learned the polymer on that, as they would put it on a sheet so that way they can wrap it, and then clay. I did do, Trey, what you had suggested, putting it on a scrap piece of clay. I did do that, sent it to someone so they can turn pens, because I don't have all the stuff to turn pens at the time. And he said it just kind of like, it blew apart. It just kind of, it was just too much clay, and it didn't drill out properly. So it's a baking issue just with the clay itself as well, to making sure it's baked at the right temperature, so that way it will harden evenly throughout it. So it could be a combination of the brass. It could be a combination of me not baking it long enough or too long. I'll get it worked out. It's one of those, I'm not willing to give up on it, because I was successful at it once. Now I just got to figure out what I did. Yeah. And right now I'm working so hard at it that I'm working at all the whatnots to do. And once I get those out of the way, we'll get it going.
I found a really interesting link. I'm going to put it for a YouTube video. I'm going to put it into the chat. That shows them making the sheets and using canes, and then just rolling the pen blank in it. So there's a case to be made that it might be, and the pen blank is clearly scored with sandpaper or something in a sort of a spiral fashion, okay, like we would normally do it, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like there could be a case to be made that the clay during the heating process goes into those grooves, and then the expansion and contraction, the whole thing moves together. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'll put that in.
Let's find out. Okay, and one of our novice members in Texas is just put it up in our chat just now. There may be a tutorial for this in the IAP website. That's the International Association of Pen Turners, and that information is in our chat. So if you'd like to check it out, chat it out, be sure you save the chat before you leave this evening. Lower right-hand corner of the chat block, 3 dots, click it and say save chat. In fact, because I forget it all the time, and I really mean all the time, I'm going to do it right now. And that way I have what we have right now, because I've seen some great stuff in here tonight. I think we have to go back out to Arizona and talk.
Sir.
Where's he at? Talk.
Well, let me do one more gallery that was skipped here, I think. got a screen name of MENRC. So we're going to go to him now or her now.
We were there a little while ago.
Oh, we already do your gallery, sir?
Yeah, this is
Yes.
Yeah, you got a while ago. Thank you.
Okay, right on. I just want to make sure.
all right. Hey, be careful what you talk about out there, because I understand that there's a place in Arizona that the inside of it is 100% white and clean. And it's a wood shop.
Well, it's a
Doug,
clean
talk to
room
us.
for now. Let me see.
Well, we see.
You see me?
I got you
There
now.
go. I see it. Okay. Let me get the camera turned around again. So it's sort of clean, except for she keeps shedding everywhere. Say hi, Wilma. All right. So again, the door coming in from the backyard. And then if we make our way in, there it is. The drywall has all been hung. And I can now officially take you all into the bathroom with me. Oh, look at that.
Oh, I'm so blessed. Look at that.
You've been in the bathroom with Dougie.
All right. Well, you know, I'm going to christen that bathroom, Doug. I'm telling you, I'm going to come up once you get everything set up.
When did he put the carpet in?
Carpet's still a ways out.
All right.
I have shop envy.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, it looks good, Doug. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
Very nice, Doug.
Well deserved. You're
Understand
really,
Tim
you're
knows
really
how to
going to
put
like
tile in
that.
the bathroom. Yeah. So that's
All right.
yeah, that's the only update this week. And then with the long holiday weekend, my brother's not going to be up here, so he won't be back until he said it's either going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it'll all be done, taped, textured. It'll all be done.
Great. It's looking like a shop now, bud.
Good stuff.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. So Eddie, I've finished the trimming off the little nubs on the piece here. So, and then I soaked it with some boiled linseed oil.
Now that's the piece we were working on a few
That
minutes
was the
ago.
piece we were working on. So there's the texturing from the spiral tool.
Nice.
The inside of the vessel. So you can see that knot and the void that ran all the way through lengthwise, and then it's splayed off onto the corners, which consummated some black mineral deposits. Nobody knows how they got there except for this group. But
Looks good.
charcoal is an excellent medium to fill stuff. And there's the bottom. That's it.
Looks nice. Very nice project.
Again, you know, they sit on they sit on your countertop or your bedroom dresser, and got a place to chuck your rings. If you don't like sleeping in them because they get caught in your hair, or you scratch yourself with them, whichever. Or when you're at the kitchen doing whatever type of duties at the kitchen, whether you're cooking or doing dishes, you know, and you don't feel like wearing your rings for that, you know, chuck them off. They go in here, or you put it inside. It's out of sight, out of mind. Only you know that they're in there. So it's a cool little project.
It is. Thank you for the demo. It was very nice. Very
So,
nice.
you know, so here's the two of them, you know, and they're basically identical.
Yeah, those are cool.
Did you grab the lace wood one?
No, but I will. Give me a minute,
Okay.
and I'll go inside and grab it.
All right.
Yeah, I hate getting my rings caught in my hair.
Oh, well, yeah, I used to have that problem, Billy.
Yeah, you look what Doug Rowe did for his. I mean, you don't get caught in his hair at all. Okay, we had some last week when we were talking to Dane. He mentioned that he does his demonstration like he did tonight, and he's using his cell phone, his iPhone or Android or whatever, and he's using it on the $29 tripod that he got from Amazon. Well, the next issue of the newsletter comes out. I will tell you what that piece is, where it's at, and how it works, and where you can get it. Also, we have one on shields because we spoke earlier tonight. We are all seeing professional demonstrators now stepping up and forgetting to shield up. Or it just wasn't a habit a long time ago. I didn't do it for several years when I did demonstrations because I really believed it affected the way you could hear my voice or whatever. I found an excuse, not a reason, just an excuse. So we're going to talk about that. Also, the bias cut. Well, let me go here. The bias cut's another one. Folks say, what do we talk about when we talk about a bias cut? Well, that's when you're not plowing straight in. Somebody was talking about when they cut the resin. Was it Jason? He was cutting a product and it was blowing apart. And he went to negative rake scrapers. It might not have been Jason, I'm sorry. He went to negative rake scrapers and that helped. Think about your cutting action. And let's leave scrapers way on the side. Think about your cutting action with a fingernail gouge, a real detail-oriented fingernail gouge. You don't go plowing into the work with it, or if you do, you see the damage you did. You roll it up on the shoulder and go in as a slice. Well, do the same thing with your scraper, your gouge, your bowl gouge, your roughing gouge, bad name for a great tool. But try doing a softer cut. Mark Soleil, I don't think Mark's with us tonight. Mark Soleil's got a technique that he teaches where he will show you how to make that fine little cut because you're only cutting with the whisker on the end of that gouge. And we'll have that in our next newsletter. Also, a little piece about the Neje engraver. And also, so you won't play favorites, there's one out there called the Outer, O-U-T-U-R. O-U-T-U-R, same market, same price and all. And it all depends on what you're looking for or what you can afford. And keep in mind, Father's Day is coming up. If you got to write it on a notebook and put it someplace, write it down. All right, is Doug, is Dane back with that? Not yet, okay. And pull it off here. Remember, SWAT is taking registration. Almost no limitations on what's going on at SWAT. Almost no limitations. And it's available. The hotel is booking up quick, but there are openings right now. So get on SWAT. That's SWATturners.org, and it's SWATturners.org. Dane's back with us now. What you got, bud?
Okay, so this is the one out of Lacewood. And so this is this was a 2x6x6. And so you can see hopefully you can see the flaking.
Oh, it is. It's coming through.
It's just immaculate. The figure on it. And there's the lid, the bottom of the lid.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, well, the beauty of lacewood is
the inside.
it really doesn't matter when it's aged. If you treat it right and don't over sand it, it will get a texture to it. It will get the grain show through. Makes it even more unique.
Right. It's a very chippy wood, or at least all the lacewood that I've turned has been chippy. So you can't hog it off. You got to go with light coats. But you know, this is finished in tung oil, and God, I probably turned this 10, 11 years ago. But this is one of the ones that sits on the wife's dresser, and of course I had to unload some jewelry that she had in there. But yeah, it's
wait.
Really
You're
cool
brave.
piece.
You were brave enough to touch her jewelry?
Oh, well, you know, I bought part of it, so I think I'm excited, right? Been together for 26 years, so I don't think there's an issue.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great little project, and
It's a skill builder,
yeah.
and it serves something. So
yes,
very nice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. And I very much
That's awesome.
appreciate the demonstration this evening. It was nice. Folks, every week we do a demonstration, sometimes more than one, and we're always looking for tips and tricks and hints, shortcuts, legal shortcuts, safety input,
right.
new tool use, new tool ideas. I mean, we just now roped Kim into doing a demonstration for us on on the polymer clays, and we're still looking for other ones.
Hey, Eddie,
hey, yes,
think-
sir.
I think Dean would like to do a demo on his scoops.
Oh, and that is one
Right.
awesome thing. There's a word that might be on a front cover of the next newsletter.
Yes. Dean, are you up for it, buddy?
I can certainly do one, but let's make it after June the 9th. And I probably won't be on for that June the 9th meeting. My wife has an anniversary that day, so we might have other plans.
Right.
Unless I can talk her into tuning into Worldwide Wood Turners.
You can get it on a telephone if you're in a restaurant that's got good coverage.
So that's fine. We'll go. We can go later on then. And I think Matt Harbor is on the hook for doing a demo too.
I am.
Matt,
what do you want to see?
well, didn't you say you were going to do a demo on a scoop?
Yeah, it was kind of. He was.
I think that Dean and I were talking about doing exactly the same thing.
Wanted to tune into Worldwide Wood Turners on June 9th. No.
At least he asked. No, the way I would do it would be exactly the same way as Dean would do it. So, I mean, if you want to see me do it, I'm happy to too, but you know, there's no sense in duplicating it unless you really want to. So.
Well, you know, different tool techniques, you know, everybody turns differently and has a different perspective. So not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but.
Well, it's not only tool technique, it's how do you hold it? Remember, if you can hold it, you can turn it.
That's right.
We're talking about these wake stands, and folks, we still want those wake stands. Don't worry about that calendar. We still want those wake stands. And they're going to an awesome cause, and we want you to be part of that program. But there's so many ways to turn them. I mean, just the other night, we 2 weeks ago, so we had a demonstration on it. Before that, we had a demonstration. Before that, we had a demonstration, and each one of them held the components in a different way. And I'm going to do some. And today, sitting there outside the shop, sketching out things, I got a wild idea on how to do it and incorporate one more little feature in mind, which is something I want to do. So we're going to do that. It's coming up on 9 o'clock.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sure does.
Wow, 9 o'clock.
And we have a little tradition here of shutting it down when down is good. So at this point, I'm going to ask you all to say goodnight. And thank you for joining us this evening. We hope to see you back next week. If your friends aren't with you, bring them next week. And if your club wants to join, the whole club can come, and it's all for the same price. It's all free. It's your worldwidewoodturners.org. Check out the website. If you need to send us an email, here it is. And we could probably say billions and billions served. Good night, everybody. Have a great week. Be safe.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming in, Kim and Billy and everybody else.
Good night.
You too, Doug.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night from Northern Arizona.
Good night from Southern Arizona.
Thanks for all the help tonight, guys.
Oh, you're welcome, Brenda.
Our pleasure, Brenda. Now I got to find time to put all these ideas into play.
Yeah, you need to write them down, Eddie.
I did. I wrote down Kim, Matt, Dean Grimes up here. I got Matt, Kim, you. Well, I don't want to put Doug in because he doesn't have a shop. But yeah, I got a list. I really want to know what color carpet he's going to put in.
Well, I'm fascinated by the whole polymer clay thing. That was
I
great.
think he needs some of that green shag in there.
Yeah, I'd love to see something on that polymer clay. That's neat.
Well,
Yeah.
people are doing that into into the bowl edges too, and using those canes is what a great idea that is, man. There are videos I've been sort of like in the background here, like checking things out on YouTube, and there are videos on how to make some of those complicated flower canes and stuff. So I don't know if Kim buys them or makes them herself, but you can make those. So
Yep.
She
Yeah,
made hers.
I think there's some files on one of the pen turning Facebook pages by Rosetta Hahn, because she's like the premier person for making polymer clay blanks. She does some fabulous stuff. It's just out of this world.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
been,
not that talented.
it's been several years ago, but there was a teenage kid on IEP. Goodness, it had to be 10 plus years ago, using polymer clay and making pen blanks and turning pens with it. And they were gorgeous.
Yeah, the tutorial that I posted a link for was actually written by Fred and Tina Wisson. If you know Fred Wisson, otherwise known as P-Town Subby.
Turnex. The owner of Turnex. The master of pressure pots.
Good night, John Boy. See y'all next week.
All right,
Good
Eddie.
night, Kevin.
All right, Eddie. We'll
Good
talk to
night.
you next week.
I know.